I'm trying to shut a desk drawer without wreaking havoc. Wreaking havoc. Wreaking havoc or wrecking havoc? How's everyone today? I have Masha Mayhem Miracles up and running. I was there visiting for a bit. Dropped in, said hi. Actually gave out a super like. I have not done that before. So I was waiting for the right person. And Masha is most definitely the right person. It's been nothing but extremely helpful for me, as well as just through her channel and, dropping into my own live chats. All of that's very much appreciated. And I'm checking out a few other things. We're just going to look and see if anyone is up and live. Lardax is here. How are you, my friend? How are you? How's your girlfriend? I saw a new post from you. I haven't had a chance to visit yet. So bear with me while I check out a few things. So, let's see. Lardax says his girlfriend is doing great. That's awesome. Young love. There's nothing like it, my friend. She's only 14. I'm 16. That's not that great of an age difference. Milka is, she's 5 years younger than me. And I've dated people who were actually older than me. Of course, I was younger then. Not that it matters. Let's see. I was going to look someone up, and I forgot. It is a holiday in Great Britain. So our friend Squirrel Sniper, although he said he was going to be working on the holiday, our friend Duncan Walsh, Paradox, we got quite a few. I have my desktop. I don't have a laptop. Tegan Brook. Yep, she's here. 34 subscribers. I was lucky number 34. Looks like a fun channel. I can't bring the computer to the camera. It's a big desktop. It's old-fashioned. It's pretty big. What I can do briefly. So I've been talking a bit. Paradox says she is the brown-haired one. That's what That's what I figured. Because if I look, sometimes she's solo, sometimes she's with friends. Carl Goth is here. Says, hey Yogi, hope you're doing well. I am, my friend. How are you? Our friend Kay is here. Carl Goth, Kay, and Flower is here. Nice to see you guys. Laradox is talking about his girlfriend. I was talking about young love. It was a long time ago. Long time ago for me. I'm actually happy to say that I am Facebook friends with my girlfriend when I was 16. Facebook friends with my girlfriend when I was 15. And 17 and 18 as well as girlfriends in my 20s. I'm actually, you know what, now that I think about it, almost every single girl that I dated, I'm Facebook friends with, or still in touch with. And amazingly, the person that I hang out with more than anyone is my ex-wife, which tells you a whole lot about me. One, I'm a better ex than I am a present, and that not a single one of my breakups have ever been bitter or even really, unpleasant. For the most part, I'm an easygoing guy. If you want to date me, hey, I'm all for it. If you want to break up with me, hey, I'm all for it. That's probably the reason why I haven't stayed with anyone. Although, having said that, I've mentioned before, and you guys have heard Mocha and I talk on live sessions, and hopefully she'll do a live with me soon again. Although we didn't stay married, we have stayed and evolved. Our relationship is a wonderful thing. We both have come to terms that we don't need it defined by a particular label. We are what we are to each other, and neither one of us would have it any other way. And Kyle Goth says, I'm good. Kyle, you know what? I got to check out your channel. If you have a channel, I'm not sure. But I was never a goth. But I was friends with that group set. I was friends with a lot of people, actually, a lot of groups across the board. I never really had one particular, this is my group, because I grew up in a fairly well-off area. We weren't well off. We lived in a let's see. We lived in a townhouse, middle class income, but it was surrounded by some fairly well-off people. And I played sports, but I was a deadhead. I had long hair, ponytail, and I was artistic, so I hung out with the art crowd, the goths. I was all over the place. I don't know if they still have subgroups nowadays. I think it would be better, maybe, if they didn't. Okay, says, I hope everyone is doing well. So far today, it's another rainy day. It's supposed to be that way all week. Let's see. Laradox says, I know this is irrelevant, but the 9/11 story is tragic. I agree, it is tragic, and nothing is irrelevant, even if only one person finds it important, in my view. I think about that here on the chat. Every comment in its way is relevant. I don't always have the wavelength to give each and every comment, my attention. Uh, I tried to in the beginning, and you guys saw how far behind I actually fell. But man, I appreciate you guys coming here. So that deserves my appreciation and my respect. Okay, says let's all hit the like button. Thank you for that. We are 3 for 3. We got 3 people and 3 likes. That's a pretty good start, guys. Make sure that I'm all caught up here. Flower says, wait, when did that happen? That happened in 2001. Doesn't sound stupid at all. Especially, that's before your time. But man, did it reshape the world when it happened. We are still feeling the repercussions from that event now. Of course, that's the thing with any major tragedy, major event. It doesn't just end. You think about World War I and the effects of that and some of the players, everything continued over into World War II. And then World War II just spread into the Cold War, which led towards splintered groups of terrorist cells. I forget who it was. He said, in the history of warfare, it's never worked, because if it did, we would only need one. Instead, it really seems we keep relearning the lessons. Not even relearning. Have we learned any lessons from warfare? You would think after the dropping of the atomic bomb, knowing the destructive force, we would all say, never. It's never going to happen again. You would think that we would want to have some sort of, we've tried agreements, we have treaties, but the world is no safer with those in place. Not to put a damper on the conversation or to scare anyone. But we do know there's a better way. And we do know that we can't continue living under that umbrella of fear. It's only going to take a rogue person in the wrong place to put the world in jeopardy. So what are we going to do? So actually, Laradox, I appreciate you bringing that up. And again, I don't find it irrelevant at all. Especially, a tragic event like that. And the people who have suffered and the people who continue to suffer. So what about you guys? I don't want to keep focusing on myself and my conversation, although I'll keep interjecting, of course, with my own stuff. But how is everyone doing? And is there anything you guys ever want to talk about? It has been a while for me. These are mala beads, also known as japa beads, used in, very similar to a rosary, used in japa meditation or chanting. Japa is basically the chanting of a mantra, which is different than mantra meditation. A mantra meditation doesn't have usually doesn't have a specific meaning, at least in the tradition that I practice. It's based on a vibrational quality. It's based upon frequency. If it had a meaning, the problem when you meditate on a word that has meaning is that you become lost in the meaning and you don't sink to that level of consciousness where you enter this deep state of silence. That's not to mean that meditating on a mantra doesn't have a purpose or help us in some way, as it does. And that's the purpose of the mala beads, as well as doing the repetition of the mantram. Mantram is mantra with an M, and it's a little different. That's the recital, repetition of a holy word, be the word of God. So it could be Jesus Christ, it could be Mother Mary, it could be Krishna, Rama, Vishnu, Shiva, and then of course there's Om Mani Padma Hum, famous Buddhist mantra. Flower says, I'm a mod here, so I like to pop in and out to check stuff. Hey, you're an authority figure here, like a sheriff. You got to keep things in order. Keep people in line. Keep the unruly from being ruly. Is that how it works? I don't know. So I had I'm not going to say an extensive practice with the mala beads, but I had a practice with them and fell by the wayside several years ago. Not for any particular reason. You introduce things in, some things stick, some things don't. But it was a pretty profound practice. And I keep up with my mantram, which I use quite a lot when I'm walking in the morning. I like that repetition of a holy name because it invokes that sense of holiness. Flower says, JS, you skipped that. So I'm assuming that you don't know that. I did not know that. Sometimes it's hard to tell, JS, was it a typo or not? So I always figure if it's a typo, I don't want to call out someone's mistake. So I just let it slide by. And then I figured if it's not a typo, then someone like our good friend Flower will say, hey, you skipped JS. So either way, I appreciate it. So yeah, walking with the mantra, really, especially early morning, everything is so quiet. I mentioned before, the hours before dawn, specifically about 45 minutes before dawn, and about maybe an hour after, half an hour to an hour, it's called Brahma Muhurtai, which means the hours of God, or hour of God. Although by right, it's not a single hour, it's a time frame. And I actually had a talk with Flower about that, and I read the Rumi poem, Do Not Go Back to Sleep. Maybe we'll read that again. That's the hour to pray. If you want to have an actual conversation with God, not a petitionary prayer, not when you're on your knees and you're asking and you're asking and you're asking, especially when we're addressing ego needs. Absolutely nothing the matter with asking for a blessing in your life or addressing the ego's need, because it is real. We need what we need and we want what we want. We don't need to make an apology for it. However, if you want a conversation where you actually hear the voice of God in the silence of the morning, that's the hour to do so. Let's see, if you guys don't mind hearing some more Rumi. I've read this quite a bit. But man, I hope you guys are like me and can never ever get tired. One, of good poetry, and in particular, Rumi. So this is titled "Don't Go Back to Sleep." The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill, where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. When I first read that, decades and decades and decades ago, maybe late teens, and I made a vow, when I wake up at that holy hour, I'm going to have my knees on the floor, and I'm going to pray. I will not go back to sleep. And of course, 3 a.m. rolled around, and I went back to sleep. We can have the greatest vow and the greatest commitment to a holy life, but it doesn't stick until it sticks, if that makes sense. Same with an exercise program. How many people start, a program as a New Year's resolution, and before February even rolls around, they've already given it up, until it sticks. And we never know when. We never know when. For me, I think it's when it goes from a resolution to an intent, because intent is a field of energy, much like gravity. We don't see it, but it's a potent form of energy that guides our life. And when we learn that intent is as powerful as gravity, then we place our wishes, our desires, our prayer within that field and allow the universe to do what it does. Allow the universe to carry out those desires. As Patanjali of the Yoga Sutras wrote, and I read this quite often. You guys are going to get a whole bunch of readings and quotes. When you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. That is Patanjali, who wrote the Yoga Sutras. Okay, so beside Kyle and the flower, and is explaining that she's 2 people at once. Sometimes she's 3 people at once. And I think she came in and she was 4 people at once, if I'm not mistaken. Flower says, that's her mom's name. Kinjak Mong is my dad's name. My name's Shui, God, whom, I can't pronounce that. My mom's name, Shell. My mom's English name is Joe. Well, and I think that's changed to Joel. Sorry, that was unnecessary. No, we never know what's necessary or not, so we put it out there. Plus, you know what? It's always fun to learn new things about each other. I would think of an interesting fact to share with you guys. I can't think of anything interesting. You know, I mean, you all knew I had long blonde hair, that I was a deadhead, that I write, that I wake up early every morning. I go to bed early every night. There you go. All the interesting stuff about me. You know, I got 2 cats. Probably the most interesting thing about me is Mocha. And there she is, Mocha McCarty. So the second part of that Patanjali reading. Let me read the whole thing again, and I'll add the second part in, if you guys don't mind. When you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. Dormant forces. That's the power of intent. What helps me, I've read before, I've offered before, from the art of Hawaiian shamanism, the art of wishing for what we want. And that it's often better to be broad in that wish. Instead of wishing for someone to be healed of a particular issue, we just wish for wellness for that person, a healing for that person, because what they might need is a healing on the soul level. And if you address just that physical, it might not hit the cause. So it's always better, the Bible speaks specifically, not my will, but thou's, speaking directly to God. Let's see. So, Flower says, funny how my Burmese's first name is S-H-W-E, Shui, and translates to gold, and my English name is Jewel. That's interesting. Kay says, I just like to keep the chat moving, so I apologize if I speak more than once when I see a different name. It's quite all right. Kay says, hi there, Mocha. How are you? Mocha says she is here, but in class, so may not be able to participate much. Review of my portfolio. I hope, actually, that you're still here, that we're all still here, when you get the review, and you're able to pop in, even briefly, to let us know how it goes. We know it's going to be good. We know it's going to be great, because you already got a little bit of early feedback on it. For those of you who don't know, Mocha retired from the military, 23 and a half years. She, just last year, this is her second semester, went back to school to get her associate's degree, community college, because she still had money left on the GI Bill and wanted to use it. And she went back to school for American Sign Language, so that she'd be able to help people that she felt were truly at a disadvantage. And she had a friend, if I recall correctly, in 10th grade, who was deaf. And she, from that point on, had always wanted to be able to have communicated better with her friend. And now she gets that opportunity to be helpful for people. I'm going to tie that in with the conversation. That's the power of intent. I watched the idea take shape as we were walking in Mocha's head, and each day she gave it more and more energy until it literally became a living thing, a force. And as Patanjali says, dormant forces took over and everything just fell into place. And now Mocha is in her second semester. She is also taking photography classes. Very talented photographer. Mocha says that she is well. So I can't think of any interesting things to say about myself, but I can think of a lot of interesting things to say about Mocha. Flower says, also you pronounce Shri right, which I was surprised. Hey, every once in a while, man, I pulled a rabbit out of my hat, and I show people my hidden talents of pronouncing Myanmar names correctly. But don't ever expect that again, because I doubt it's gonna happen. Okay, says no worries, Mocha. Enjoy your class. I hope all goes well. So the getting her portfolio reviewed is for photography. Flower says hi to Miss Mocha. Okay, says thank you for your service, Mocha. Yeah, and it was a long service, serving our country, um, for that length of time, and that was through um, 9/11, as well as doing a tour in Iraq in 2007, 2008, which was a particularly difficult time in that country, and of course, a particularly difficult time for Mocha. Mocha says, I'm waiting my turn for a portfolio review. Kay says, good for you, Mocha. I'm proud of you. Mocha says, it was an honor to have been able to serve. And she did so with a lot of passion and enthusiasm for the people that she was able to help. She was retired as a master sergeant, right? Um, and she was able to be a positive influence on the people who um, were under her direct supervision. Mocha says end of the second semester. And she's already registered for her third semester. Fourth semester will be her last class of spring 2025. Which, of course, she'll have to go to spring break, Fort Lauderdale. Flower says to pronounce gnome correctly, don't pronounce the H. See what I did there? I always sort of thought the H would be silent, but I wasn't sure. Every language being a bit different. So, in case you guys can't figure out, I really love talking about that force, that power of intent. Especially when we get very clear with what we want and we're able to manifest it. When I say manifest, I don't necessarily mean like what you might read in the book The Secret. I don't necessarily mean not like what you read in The Secret. But what I love here from the quote from Patanjali is that when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. That's the type of manifestation that I'm interested in, because you're literally absorbed within the thing that you're working on. And that's a joyous thing. You're not, when I think of The Secret, and this isn't to knock anyone who follows principles in The Secret, but very often you might read those stories and it's, I manifested a car. I manifested paying off my tax bill, a new job, a spouse, significant other, things, objects. Absolutely nothing matter with things or objects. My home is filled with them. My home is one. However, at a certain point, we start looking for that higher inspiration, being of service, or producing something beautiful in the world. This is why I love coming here and talking about artists. And it's also why I love to define what an artist is, especially by people who might not believe that they're an artist. I was really happy having the conversation about gardening and art with Kay. And I was very happy when she just knew instantly when we were talking about the art of gardening was it truly, truly is an art. Um, all of it. Not just, some people might say, well, yeah, having a flower garden, all of it. And amazingly, the earth is your medium, but so is the air. Everything's springing up. You plant that seed, but it manifests in the air. Two realities. Um, as well, the rain and the sun, your energy, which makes a huge difference. I'm sure Kay could speak quite a bit about that. One, you're uplifted by those conditions. You're uplifted by having your hands in the soil. You're uplifted by the sunlight. You're uplifted by the rain, by the green of the plants, by the other colors of the plants. Um, all of that brings you up. But at the same time, if you're not putting that energy back into the plants, this is why they told you to talk to your plants. There's lots of science involved in that. Um, the energy, some say the carbon dioxide, CO2, right? I get my carbon and my oxides and moxides confused on occasion. Um, but I really think it's more of an energetic thing. Plants respond to our energy. They respond to the vibration of our voice, the vibratory quality of our heart. If you are a gardener, if you're a planter, and you have a little bit of darkness in your heart as you're doing it, it's going to have an effect on the plants. By darkness, I don't necessarily mean, I don't mean evil. I just mean, that if you're not in that positive place when you're planting, two things. I think the art and act of planting will help put you in that positive place. And if not, then I think that it does have an effect on the plants, which is why they say some people might, um, you know, have a green thumb and some people believe that they don't. Is the difference in the belief? What if someone who believed they didn't have a green thumb could reframe it and find that they actually did, but it was in how we approached it? Flower says, hey Eric, I remember when I had the name Anonymous and you called me he, which I found really funny. Yes, I remember when you were anonymous. So that was just another one of your accounts, not your mom or dad's. So backtracking, that if you look at someone, some of our great gardening friends, and then you read that Patanjali quote after watching them, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. You can really tell that you can really tell that Kay in her garden is inspired by some great purpose. You can tell Odom is working on some extraordinary project. Odom will break out in song. Because that joy and love of what he's doing. Here's another part of that quote. You find yourself a new and great, wonderful world. And not only, man, the amazing thing about gardens, you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world, and you're offering it to the world. Especially nowadays, because your garden doesn't have to be limited to whatever size the plot is. Now, through the magic and power of the interwebs, of YouTube, you can share it with others. We all get to partake in your art form. That's pretty amazing. Man, people can say what they want about social media. and a lot of it is true. But I would not have gotten to share, Kay took us on a tour of her garden a couple of days ago. Without social media, I would not have been able to been on that tour. Kay says, yes, I definitely have a passion for gardening. I hope that my garden journey encourages someone else to grow their own food as well. Yeah, I got to think that it can't help but. And you know what? Even barring that, um, the fact that it makes me extraordinarily happy to see you in your garden. Um, and here's a secret. Don't tell this to It Is What It Is. Don't tell this to Lewis. But seeing you so joyful and passionate about your garden uh, fills me with more joy than when I see you doing burpees. And I love seeing you do burpees. Um, you can't tell It Is What It Is because I don't want to lose my burpee creds. I worked hard for those. But as much as I love seeing you do burpees, um, you're in your element when you're in your garden, when you're giving a tour, when you're talking about it. You are um, you're living what Patanjali has just said. You're inspired by some great purpose. And what if the purpose is just to bring that one person joy? Again, I don't have a garden, but I love gardening and the art of gardening. Um, so you're giving me, when I come to your channel, okay, you are giving me a gift. When I come to our friend, um, Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, who is here saying hello. Hello, Destiny. When I come to her channel, she's given me the gift of joy, the gift of inspiration, um, as well. Quite often, all of you guys are giving me the gift of information. Uh-oh. Man, I should have known. It Is What It is the, he's the Beetlejuice of the burpee community. I mentioned his name 3 times, and he appears. Destiny, I'm doing well. I hope you are as well. Destiny says hello to Mocha and Flower. And It Is What It Is. Good mother freaking chat. And Eric, how are you? Eric Wet. Man, I'd lost my burpee cred. Okay, he's laughing. Eric Lapointe is here. Lewis says, how dare you? You know what, Lewis, I think you'll actually even agree with me. Okay, as happy as smiling in all of her reps, it still doesn't compare with how passionate and truly in her element is when she's in her garden. And speaking of that, I mean, again, look at Odom. Is anyone more in their element in the world than Odom in his garden? I was watching him talk about strawberries this morning. An awesome looking crop. Is anyone more in their element than Dr. Destiny? Her entire channel, from dancing on the treadmill, jumping rope, but even more so, as inspiring that is, when she sits down and she just gives us good information. That's it. Destiny's art form is the art of helping people, the art of being in service, the art of love. I don't know if there's any greater art form than that, the art of love. And Destiny weaves it through her life. Something that I aspire to. Not there yet, but I aspire to it. Eric Point says, I've seen studies on plants responding to bird calls and getting a jump to start the morning. It's interesting. You know, I paused. I hesitated for a second because I just read, I've seen studies on plants responding to bird calls, And I thought, that's so obvious, and it never even occurred to me before. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think I'm going to have to look that up and write about it in the upcoming days. I wrote about ducks this morning. Um, if y'all ever visit part of my live session, uh, you know, playlist or shorts right now, I think I have them on my, I forget, it's one of my playlists. Um, I'm doing 5 a.m. readings of what I wrote in the morning. Um, Usually what I wrote. If I'm not 100% pleased with what I wrote, I might read something from Rumi or, you know, something that inspires me. Man, Eric, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. It doesn't surprise me, but again, it was just so obvious. Um, Destiny says, thanks everyone for joining the host. Don't forget to like and share this out. Amazing channel. Thank you for that. And I do appreciate the likes. Everyone's saying hi. Destiny says, Lewis just completed 230 burpees. Not surprising, and he probably did it to a kick-ass soundtrack, and his first rep probably looked as perfect as his last rep. Probably should have reversed how I said that, but I think you guys know what I mean. Every one of his reps. Again, you know, talking about people in their element, it is what it is. Getting in the reps, but not just getting in his reps, inspiring others to get in the reps as well. He's in his element. I will argue with one thing. When it is what it is, we'll sometimes break stride and approach the camera and say, he's not special. I disagree with that. I agree with your premise that other people can do this as well, but the fact that you break stride and you approach the camera and you say that makes you special, because you're putting that out there for other people. You don't have to. You can just come out there and do your reps. That's not what you're about. You want other people to do those reps with you. So, my friend, that indeed makes you special. Flower says, damn, I was AFK for a few minutes, uh, and all the amazing people are here. You know what, Flower, you're absolutely right about that. We do have some amazing people here. And I count you as one of them. Our young friend Flower gives me a lot of hope for the future. That, you know what, we're going to be in good hands. Destiny says, Louis, you are still holding the burpee belt. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ, and I don't see anyone beating the champ. You know what, I do have to say, 4 months ago, when it is what it is with on the comeback trail, none of us had any doubt whatsoever that the comeback would be complete. 100%. Every single one of us had faith in it is what it is. Destiny says, Eric McCarty, there's no one who can inspire people like you. You're an old soul with a gentle heart. You are very much loved and appreciated. Thank you for that, Destiny. I really appreciate that. Tori Miners, what advice would you give your 25-year-old self? Wow, not a great, great question. Um, you know, I got to think about that just for a second, because so much of my advice I wouldn't have taken, um, because I was a cocky little 25-year-old. I actually wasn't so little. I was about 220 some pounds. Um, and I was drinking and I was causing trouble. Not, bad trouble. I never in my entire life have intentionally set out to hurt anyone, but I was causing trouble because of my irresponsibility. Um, Man, you know what? I want to say I would just go up and give myself a hug and say, it's going to turn out okay. It's going to hurt. You're going to find yourself in positions so low that you're going to wonder, can you rise up? And is it worth rising up? And just give them a hug and say, you know what? Life will get better, and then life will get worse again, and then life will get better again. But through it all, every little bit of it, you'll be alive. You will simply be alive, and you'll experience great, great joy. And that alone will be worth it. So just hang in there. And also, quit drinking. Start meditating. I was meditating at 25. I didn't take it very seriously. Well, I took it seriously, but not when I finally did commit. I realized I was never serious about it before, if that makes sense. When you're serious about it, you do it every day and you don't make excuses. It's part of your life. I wouldn't miss a meditation session any more than I would miss taking my very next breath. Destiny says hello to Tori. Tori, I appreciate you being here, by the way, and I appreciate that question. Lewis says, I would tell my 25-year-old it will never get easier, so get on it. It's true. You know what? And we go through life expecting, and we even say that to people sometimes, it'll get better. I'm almost sorry to say, we don't know. We simply can't predict the future. But there'll be times when it's better and times when it isn't. What you can discover is amidst the ups, amidst the downs, there's a steadiness and ease of being. And when you discover that, life becomes worthwhile. Because it includes those ups, it includes those downs. It's a well-lived life. It's a hard-earned life. We were here by grace. We were given this as a gift. Let's see. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. It is what it is, says, appreciate that, Eric. 230 burpees, 5 pumps. Of course it's 5 pumps. You don't get the title Mr. 5 Pump by doing 4 pumps, by doing 3 pumps. Although the journey towards Mr. 5 Pump starts with Mr. 1 Pump. As he pointed out himself, as he points out every year. You start where you start. And then he says, watch me. Don't have to believe it. Watch me start with 1 pump. And watch me finish. I gotta tell you something. It is, I'm speaking of joy. I'm speaking of the joy of watching Kay in her garden and Destiny on the treadmill. It's a joy to watch. It is what it is. Take that journey every year. And watch each rep through the days get more and more flawless. Kay says, I agree with Destiny. I really appreciate hearing that. Destiny says, Lewis is the comeback kid. Resilience and determination. That's a hashtag. That is a hashtag that sums up it is what it is. Flower says, I'm waiting for Night Watcher and Chris. I had thought Chris would have popped in by now. I suspect that maybe he does, but as I mentioned before, he's convinced that everyone hates him, and no matter what I say, he's not going to believe it. But the truth is, no one here hates him. Hate has no place in our heart. Jackamoo and Hollyboo. says hi. Jackamoo and Hollyboo. I don't know why that really makes me smile. It makes me feel good. I like that channel name. Jackamoo and Hollyboo. That's pretty awesome, my friend. Lewis says, correct, Derek. Flower says, might not come back, but hey, it's worth it. And you know what? If he does pop in and just watches, he's going to see our friend Flower say, I hope Chris comes back. That's got to mean something. So, you know, Flower, when you do stuff like that, and as much as I appreciate you, it makes me appreciate you even more because you have such a kind and giving heart. Desi says, Eric, appreciate you. Eric appreciates you all being here and thankful for your love and support. Amazing, loving fellowship family. That's another perfect hashtag. Describes everyone who comes in to visit. Sometimes I think about that when someone comes in that might come in particularly just to hit a to try to cause a stir, press our buttons, press my buttons in particular because I'm here, and I think what a perfect opportunity. What a perfect opportunity to limit my buttons. If I don't have a button to be pressed, I'm liberated. I'm free. Now, of course, I do still have buttons that can be pressed, but I'm going to give you guys a hint. I'm going to give every troll a hint. One of my buttons that most definitely can't be pressed is coming in and telling me that I'm bald. Because, man, I already know it. You are not telling me any secrets. And I also shave my head. So, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. But I do find if someone comes in and says something, and I have a reaction versus a response, then, man, what a great opportunity for me to think about that. That here's something that is new. Here's something that might needs a little looking into. So it serves. Everyone who comes here is serving some type of purpose in some way for all of us. Flower had said, does he think that I hate him? He didn't mention anyone in particular. He just said the group, the chat. And my answer to that was, he can't speak for the chat. He can't say they hate me unless he comes here and he experiences hate, which he's not going to. He's going to experience the opposite. And you know what? When you're convinced that the world hates you and you get the opposite response, that is the manifestation of a miracle. It's something in your heart that was hard and bitter melts, disappears, breaks. And you just realize, you know what? It's not a cold and distant, hard world that we live in. It certainly can appear that way at times. But you know what? It's a universe of great, great compassion. And again, think of it, the fact that we're here at all. We've been given this gift of existence. How can we doubt that this is a loving, caring, compassionate universe? You look around and you think, you know, well, yes, some pretty horrendous things have happened. But after every horrendous thing, what's been our response? We usually rally around and we do our best to make sure it doesn't happen again. Sometimes it does. You know what? Mistakes happen. But the love that overcomes those mistakes is ever present. Richard Runtrails says, hi everyone. Richard, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm almost positive everyone follows Richard Warren's trails, but if they don't, um, definitely spend some time. Richard is an inspiring ultra runner, um, not just an ultra runner. He's a fitness enthusiast who was quickly becoming a bench press specialist. But he's had an injury. He's on the mend, and he is actually probably fully recovered by now. Let's see. Flower says, sorry, I said it in a short verse. Is that what verse stands for? And Flower says, sorry for saying sorry all the time. I did that again. I sound like an idiot. Sorry. You never, ever sound like an idiot, and you never have to apologize. Most importantly, you never have to apologize for saying sorry, because I know, I think we all know where it comes from with you, and it comes from a very loving and tender heart. So never any reason to be sorry. Richard says he's good. Listen for more. Appreciate that. Richard says thanks for the shout out. A well-deserved shout out. Richard's got a great channel. Richard says close. Did a 3-mile run yesterday. Awesome. And your first race and the comeback, did you say September? Or was it before September? Flower says, you said fully recovered, and that reminded me of Michael. Hope he's okay. I hope he is as well. I thought we might hear from him in the last couple weeks or so, but it's been a bit. Flower says it's been about 3 to 5 months now, and he hasn't popped in. That long? I'm thinking maybe a month or so. Richard says May 25th. I have a 25K. Awesome. Not too far away. It'll be a good test. A good test run for you. A good test race. I think all the hiking that you've been doing is really going to be of benefit. Really going to pay off. So it is a game changer when we realize that we live in a compassionate universe. More so, it's a game changer when we realize, as our friend Destiny loves to point out, correctly points out, that we are the universe itself and the universe is us. So if we live in a compassionate universe, what does that make us? We can't be left out, which is a wonderful thing to think of. Name a positive attribute of the universe, and then realize that you are the universe, and realize that that attribute has to be you as well. Flower says coincidence 000. That is where was I, guys? All right, I found it. Man, I could talk an entire live stream on just that Patanjali quote. But that is what Patanjali is saying. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. The thoughts that we have about ourselves are just that, thoughts. What if we didn't believe them? What if our friend Chris K, instead of having the thought, everyone's going to hate me, had the thought that I can show him the real me. And that the real me is incapable of being hated. Because the real me is love itself. Flower says, okay, I'm stupid. Isn't it May 7th? Today is May 7th. It is. Richard is talking about having a race on May 25th. Flower says, sorry if you meant something else. That's okay. And I'm not even going to read your last comment because it's absolutely not true. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Richard says May 7th in Asia now. Yes, this is true. That had not occurred to me. May is well underway. I absolutely love May. We don't quite, well, we've gotten some summer temperatures. Throughout last week, it hit the 90s several times. But now it's definitely feels like early April again. It is coolish and it's raining, but it is green. My favorite color. That depth of green that overtakes you, overwhelms you. Green feels like that passionate color of life. Life itself just wants to reach out and grab you with its greenness and pull you in. I love walking on the bike paths and the trails around my neighborhood when it's this green, because I live in a very nicely wooded area. Richard says 2 a.m. Flower says 12:37 a.m. Flower wants to know which country Sir Richard is in. He's in the U.S., same as Eric. He is west of me, in the great state of Texas, which, by the way, friend Kay is in the great state of Texas. I've only been in Texas once. I flew down there to do to read some poetry for a group of people, and it was a little bit of a photo shoot. It was a fun trip, and it was only for the day. However, my plane going back to Maryland was rerouted, and I ended up spending the night in the Atlanta airport, which, if you guys are ever stranded in an airport, I highly recommend getting stranded in the Atlanta airport, because it's absolutely beautiful. Indoor gardens, they have an art gallery. Flower says, which country is 2 a.m. then? I guess farther east. If we get to China and we get to Japan, we can look that up if anyone is interested. Flower says, my grammar, I don't know which one is right. Man, I can't give you any help with grammar, that's for sure. Richard says, China? Could be. Let's find out. It's the reason why I got Google in front of me. It is 2:10 a.m. in China. Although I suspect that China itself, being so large, might actually have several time zones as well. Destiny says, Eric in the background listening. I appreciate that. Destiny, probably going to talk for 5 or 10 minutes. Flower says, I guess that makes sense. Destiny is saying hi to Richard. So I started off talking about the japa beads, japa meditation. A tool I've used in the past. I'm not an expert on japa meditation. It's a valuable form of meditation for so many ways. It invokes a great energetic presence, a holiness. You're literally using a mantra of the name of God to invoke the presence of God within you. This is why it's the same as rosary beads, and it's no mistake that rosary beads have. I have a set of rosary beads hanging on my door. That rosary beads have 188 beads, as well as traditional japa beads have mala beads have 108 as well. 108 actually, there's 108 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. If I'm not mistaken, I may be mistaken. Let's check that out. The Vedas, which are the ancient Sanskrit texts, those are the texts that give meaning towards yoga, have 54 letters, each with the ability to be feminine, Shakti energy, and masculine, which is the Shiva energy, for a total of 108. The Upanishads, which again are yogic texts, Vedic texts, another collection of 108 texts that expands on Vedic teaching. There is Christianity. The words firstborn are used 108 times in the Bible, and the word in truth and to forgive are also used 108 times in the New Revised Standard Version. The number is also significant in mathematics and geometry. "108" is a harshad, which is a term I never heard before. I'm glad we looked this up. That doesn't mean everyone's glad I looked this up. Some people might be like, man, now what he's babbling about. Harshad is a number which means that it is divisible by the sum of its digits. I'd love to explain it to you guys, but that would mean I understood math, and I don't. Hey, our friend Noble is here. My friend Yogi has appeared. Noble says, much love, brother. Flower says, hey, our favorite drunk dad has appeared. We got everyone saying hi. So, we have some people that haven't popped up in a while, Richard being one. Hope you guys are all connected. Definitely check out Richard's channel. Just for the great workouts, great information, but Richard really does great reviews. I think if he ever decided that that's going to be the focus on his channel, that would be completely enough. That would be awesome, because he does such good reviews. The reason why I'm giving him another shout out is because we have our friend Noble here. Noble, again, you guys always hear me shout out Noble. Not only is he a great guy, for me, Noble is the top of the line live streamer. I am in the shadows of noble scrolling traveler. Richard says, thanks, that is the majority now. Man, you just do it so well. And it is important. So, man, I might have to, I got a couple things on my list now to write about. I need to write about 108 and the Harshad, Harshad. Never heard that before. As well as Eric Lapointe sharing the birds triggering the growth in plants, waking plants up. What an amazing thing to think about. Universe in communication with itself. Just, that's beautiful to think, because I love when I'm out before what they call the dawn chorus, the first bird song of the day, and I love the silence. And I try to stay in that silence and see if I can catch the very first note of the day in my area, in my sphere. Sometimes I do, really mindful, I can catch it. And then sometimes I'll notice that it's been playing for a bit and I miss it. It doesn't matter if you miss it, because it's still there. Your body is still responding to it. It's just like the fractal patterns that our bodies respond to. Okay, says, thank you, Noble. You are pretty fantastic yourself. Yeah, he is. Noble says that Kay's Garden, your channel was fantastic. It certainly is. Noble says, it is what it is. You are fantastic. Your quad riding is great. Riding. Although, you know what? I'm going to bet if it is what it is, decided he wanted to write about quads, it'd be pretty fantastic too. Lewis says, thanks, Noble, even though it almost killed me, but he loves his quad. Noble says, I feel like everyone with a quad has said that it almost killed them. You're a crazy man in the dunes. That is probably true. Noble says, I am in the shadows of the great Yogi. Well, I would agree, but when I think great Yogi, I think of Paramahansa Yogananda, who wrote Autobiography of a Yogi, that probably inspired more people on the yogic path. And what a blessing that it does. Because if you read that, you get the depth of what yoga really is. If you go to the bookstore right now and you go into where they have yoga books, you will find books on how to do a back bend, books on how to do a headstand. You'll find yoga for runners. You'll find yoga for football players, yoga for this, yoga for that, but you won't find an actual book on yoga. What you really are seeing is how to stretch for running, how to use yoga stretches for this or for that. But yoga itself is the path to God realization. To know yoga is to know God. To know God is to know yoga. Yoga means union. And it is recognizing that which is already joined. And the entire path of yoga is getting rid of the mental patterns that keep us from the realization that we are in union with God. This is why Jesus said, I and my Father are one. Well, the way to my Father is through me. Union, yoga, in a different language. Flower says, Noble, yeah, I haven't asked you, do you have a cat and a blender? Sorry for bringing that up. And Noble says, no, I don't know that. Sounds brutal, not to my taste. Flower says, great, don't look it up. I agree. Noble says, Yogi is the only yoga for me. Well, you know what? I'm glad you said that because that's the basis for my channel. Hence the just a yogi doing burpees. Um, I gotta admit, the in the basement part is optional. Um, I could do burpees somewhere else. I could be just a yogi doing burpees in his living room. I'd probably have some complaints. Uh, just a yogi in his front yard doing burpees. I'd probably have some complaints. Flower says, I don't want you to be traumatized. Yeah, the title alone is enough to warn me off of it. Noble says, I am a crow feeding type person, not the cat blender type. That's why we love you, Noble. One of the many reasons why we love you. I got some little bit of filming of crows this morning, and we saw if Mocha McCarty, I know she is probably getting reviewed right now, her portfolio. We saw a Fisher crow, which is different than the American crow. I was only able to get a little film of it. It looked like a crow. So I don't know the distinctions. I'm going to have to look that up. I got a shot of a catbird. I love catbirds. They literally sound like a cat, but they can also mimic the song of other birds almost perfectly. I got a shot of a Carolina wren. The goslings, the geese are getting bigger. I got some more of that. Some ducks. I just love ducks. I wrote about them this morning, actually. The vulnerability of ducks. Ducks just tug at my heartstring. So I'm going to have to look up the difference between a Fisher crow and a American crow. I meant to do that. There's also Baltimore Orioles about, but we didn't see any. I saw a bluebird, which I love seeing. Red-winged blackbirds. But I love getting out there and seeing that. There are no, I never shrug off birds. I never shrug off anything. I'm excited to see my 17th squirrel of the day as I am to see my first squirrel of the day. I'm excited to see a starling or a robin. I love robins. As I am to see a Carolina wren or a new species that shows up. Man, there are no ordinary moments. We had a friend earlier in this conversation. He said, what would you tell your 25-year-old self? And maybe that would be it. There are no ordinary moments. It's all a miracle. Every last bit of it. How incredible is that, guys? Kay says, I love all the information that you share on your channel. Thank you for that. Noble says, I did the yoga a while back when I told you. I remember that. My lady Sheila does yoga every day. That's awesome. Yep, I do my... sometimes you're still up and running, Noble, when I'm up doing my first round of yoga. You haven't even gone to bed yet, and I'm up starting my yoga. Richard says, Google says 14K still use Sanskrit as a daily language, but many languages are derived from it. Is yoga a Sanskrit word? It is a Sanskrit word. And so are several terms that have come to be common. Karma, Dharma. Sanskrit it's a sacred language along with Hebrew and Latin as well. And here's the amazing thing about Sanskrit. The seers and the great yogis, the rishis, rishi means seer, all say that it's an energetic language. that when you use the word tree, Vrkasana, Vrkas, I believe, tree. Vrkasana is tree pose, asana, posture. So Vrkasa, I'm assuming would mean tree. It's one of my favorite poses. So when you say Vrkasa in Sanskrit, you are literally having the experience of a tree itself. That the word, the term, contains the language of the thing that it describes. Unlike a lot of other languages, which makes the difference between a sacred language and everyday language that we use, is that essence, that energy. Thanks for looking that up, Richard. That was interesting. Flower says, what did you think of when you first heard Cat in the Blender? I thought literally Cat in the Blender, and it was not a good thing. Noble says, a crow that fishes? That sounds amazing. And you know what? I should have been able to guess it because of the fishing cap with the lures in it that the crow was wearing. It had a pole, and it was whistling the Andy Griffith theme song. So, which, for some reason, I think Richard Runtrells would know this. The theme song for Andy Griffith, I believe, is actually called Fishing Hole, or Let's Go Down to the Fishing Hole. So, you know what? I really want people to appreciate that I'm not just here talking about yoga and nature and the universe. I'm also here giving out completely worthless TV trivia information. That alone should be worth something, I think. Flower says it exists. A fishing crow, fishing crow, I think it was. It certainly does exist. So I guess it is one that relies, you know what, let's look it up. If you guys haven't already. Noble says, did you watch the crow fish at the time? Did it dive underwater? Nope, it was in a tree. And Mocha she had the bird identifying app up, identifying birds by their song, because we were hearing so many different new species today. Springtime is such an amazing time. We're in that migratory path. I think she said that we saw a Carolina wren, and they actually migrate from South America. They'll winter in South America. And here it was, less than a quarter mile from my house, that a bird in a short period of time flew from South America and is sitting on a branch in the woods not far from my house. What an amazing thing that something can do that. I have a book, I haven't read it yet, on quantum biology, and they talk about the ability of birds to migrate is because of quantum biology. Is that an alien face, Flower, or is that a skull face? Destiny says, please don't forget leaving your thumbprint on the like button. Thanks for coming in and lending your support to the host. Much love to everyone. Definitely much love, and definitely much appreciated, guys. I got 8 likes, and I'm certainly glad that I am not noble, and I don't have to do 20 push-ups if I get 10 likes. Noble says, it's just beautiful watching the flying patterns of birds. They're fascinating. Yeah, they are. I get quite a few, in my nature shorts, quite a few bird videos. Not because that I want to be, exclusively a bird video shooter, videographer, But like Noble says, they're just so fascinating. You're drawn to them. Noble says, thank you for the reminder, Destiny. Destiny is awesome like that. So is Kay. And so is Flower. Kay says, I agree, Noble. Noble says, Kay, do you get birds in your garden ever? I know they love cornfields. Well, who doesn't love a good cornfield? Honestly. Kay says, every day, Noble. I also have chickens that I'm raising for eggs only. Chickens are amazing animals. It's been said that chickens have the emotional intelligence of infants, 2-year-old child. They make wonderful pets. I got a friend who lives in York, Pennsylvania. Absolutely love his chickens. Um, they greet him when he comes home, come running up to him, and not to get anything, just affection. They see their person. Destiny says, Noble scrolling, thanks, and I love your love for the animal kingdom. You are kind and so awesome. Yes, he is. Richard says, the fishing hole is the name. I knew Richard would know that. I don't know how I knew, but I knew. So the next time the Andy Griffith Show comes on, repeat. If it still does. I don't know if, it doesn't seem like we have repeats the way we used to when we were kids. But now you know the name of the song, Fishing Hole. Flower says, God, I wish I didn't watch the video. I was so curious. I wish there was a button to press to erase your memories. Yeah, I've had similar experiences. But you know what? Now you know. And you never have to watch it again. It will fade. It'll fade from your mind eventually. And you will be wiser for the experience. Sadly, I'm sorry you had to see that. Noble says, that's amazing, Kay. I learned recently that eggs come in all different colors depending on the type of chicken. My personal favorite are brown eggs. Noble says, I love that app. Sheila and I use that bird listing. Yeah, Mocha uses it quite extensively, as well as a bird identifier. Really useful app. I always say, wow, look at the pretty birdie. And Mocha says, yes, that's a Carolina wren. You can tell that one of us is the practical one and one of us is not the practical one. Noble says, Destiny, your dancing and treadmill work is great. Keep up the positive vibes. That's what Destiny is all about, positive vibes and joy and service. Noble, check out her jump rope skills. Flower says, Skull, I don't use Alien. Good to know. I'm trying to think if I've seen the Alien then. Destiny says, likewise, Noble, keep up the love for all creatures and mankind. Keep shining. That's what that's what I love about all of you guys, each and every one of you, is honestly, your channels are based on love. Your channels are based on love and passion. If someone were to come to one of Noble's live chats and say, so what's this live stream about, or what's your channel about? I think Noble could rightly say it's about love. It's about joy. Coming here and expressing yourself, and him expressing himself. Richard says, ornithology is the study of birds. Man, and what a fascinating subject, too. Flower says, does Chris come out at the second session? The last time he came out was in the second session. Destiny says, I have to go now, Eric. I will catch you in the chat later. Thanks for the fellowship, and also the discussion was great. Enjoy your day, everyone, and peace to you. Much love, family. Much love to you, Destiny. Thank you for coming in. And we'll probably call it a day here shortly for me as well when I get to my meditation. I'm not too far behind in the chat. There says, I just imagine an old-time crow with a fishing rod and a hat, hooks, and whistling a great tune. That's how it is. I like that image. Selina is here. You are easy to talk with. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Always appreciate when you visit. Noble says, I seen the jump rope skills. I need to practice. Looks fun. It is fun. It's hard work. Definitely makes it look easy. Colleen C. Serendipity. That's an awesome title. I mentioned that before. Hello, I have been listening for a while. Gave you a thumbs up and saying hello for support. I really appreciate that. Colleen, thank you. Thank you so much. Colleen says, Flower says, I can't forget the image of a kitten in a blender. Don't imagine it. I will certainly not. Noble says, thank you, Colleen, for coming to the show. Yogi is a great individual. Thank you, Noble. Appreciate you saying that. Richard says, I must go. Have a great day. You too, Richard. Thanks for coming in, man. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, I will see you and talk to you before your race on the 25th. But if for some reason it doesn't happen, man, I know you're going to rock it. For those who might have missed it, Richard, who's a terrific ultra runner, lots and lots of 100-mile belt buckles on his belt. When I got my very first buckle for a 100-mile race, Milko was like, you don't even own pants that need a belt. What are you going to do with a belt buckle? Didn't matter. I had my buckle. I ran 100 miles. But Richard suffered a hamstring injury, and he is on the comeback trail, much like our friend It Is What It Is was when he was injured, and his first race will be May 25th. It's going to be a 25K. I bet by the end of the year, Richard's going to do another 100-miler, and he's going to bring home the buckle. So definitely check out Richard's channel. Richard Runs Trails. Noble says, not to mention one of my best friends in life. Let's see. Flower says, at first watching the vid, I was traumatized, and a few seconds later, had the look, you're going to pay for that. Yeah, I think that would be my thought as well. Noble says, you, Yogi, are one of my best friends in life. Well, thank you for that, Noble. I appreciate that. And I love the expression heart friends. People who know each other where and when it matters through that heart connection. And you can have a heart connection with anyone in the universe. You can also have a heart connection with someone who is no longer physically present in your life. My heart connection with my father, never be broken. Passed away 2 years ago. Flower says, do you have blue or gray eyes? I have blue eyes. 2 of them. Um, no, I know you're not. Well, yeah, you said you were on Facebook, right? You should look me up on Facebook. It is Eric McCarty. So yeah, would love to be able to chat uh, sometime off of YouTube, and see photos of what's going on in our lives. I'm friends with our friend Flower. I follow Richard Runs Trails on Twitter. Always has good stuff. So, guys, I'm gonna go do my second meditation for the day. Later tonight, I will be using my Japa beads again, and we'll talk some more about that. Eric LaPointe says, good live stream, and goodbye, everyone. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Man, I appreciate that wisdom that you dropped earlier in the conversation. That's going to be playing through my mind quite a bit. I know I'm going to have to write about it. Richard said, or I'm sorry, Noble says, I'm currently taking a break from Facebook for a year, and my time will be up September 14th. I'll be on the lookout for you. I'm on Instagram, but most of the stuff I post on Instagram are photos, honestly, photos of pancakes. Don't ask me why, but Instagram is where I post photos of pancakes. Other stuff as well, but a lot of photos of pancakes. Flower says, I think blue-eyed people are like orange-colored cats. Like they're all over the place. Did you just compare me to an orange cat? It's not a bad comparison. I don't mind it at all. Every colored cat is a good colored cat, that's for sure. I have 2 black cats. But we did have 2 orange cats at one time. No, 3 orange cats, and all of them were awesome. Been extremely fortunate in the pets I've had through my life. With my last 2 dogs having a place in my heart that I don't know if any other pet is ever going to match, which is why I haven't gotten another dog. I'm very fortunate. Milka has Misty, who is such a loving. I've never seen a dog that was just loving. Everyone is her person. Amazing little dog. Noah says, just got my treadmill up and almost done with my workout room. I can't wait to live stream working out. Hey, you know what? I can't wait to see a Noble Squirrel and Traveler treadmill dancing. I can't wait to see a live stream between Destiny Forever Walks PhD and Noble Squirrel and Traveler doing a treadmill dancing, a dance-off, a dancer-size, a treadmill dancer-size. It couldn't be a dance-off because that sort of implies there'd be a winner, and the only winners would be all of us who get the opportunity to see Destiny and Noble dancing on the treadmill. I'm writing that down, Flower. Orange cat behavior, so I can Google it up. Jung, hopefully I said that right. If I didn't say that right, I apologize, my friend. Says hi. Hello to you. We're actually going to call it a day. I'll be back 5-ish. Noble, I'm going to be on the lookout for you if you go live. And I'll be there to say hi and to chat as well. If you're still live when I go live, I will have you up and running. Noble says, I want to work out with another streamer on stream. Man, you're in the right place. There's so many awesome people. You can do burpees with It Is What It Is, burpees, or the gorilla press, or the gorilla row, sorry, with K. You could go running. You could do definitely run on the treadmill with Richard and dance with Destiny. You can do quadrabics with our friend Flower. Noble says maybe Destiny and I will have to stream together and a dancing treadmill stream. Man, that would be awesome. And it would be, when you tag someone in, you could tag Destiny in, and she would do her thing. She would tag you back in. You would do your thing. All right. Noble says he will be live in 20 minutes. So that gives me time to just about get my meditation in. It'll be a little bit over. And then I'm going to be checking them out, and I'll have you up. So, man, this was a really fun chat. Appreciate you all being here. Flower says bye. And hey, Flower, if you're over there on Noble, I'll see you. For guys who might have missed that, Noble's going to be live in 20 minutes. Go check him out. If you guys just want to have fun, enjoy yourselves, forget some of the troubles that we have during the course of the day, Noble is the place to do it. I do want Flower to teach Noble how to do some quadrabics. And I'll let Flower explain that to Noble on his live stream. So, Eric Lapointe, Richard Runs Trails, Noble, Destiny, K, It Is What It Is, Jong, Selina, I appreciate you being here, my friend. We had, I know I'm going to miss some people. I apologize for that. Colleen Seed, Serendipity. Thank you for being here, my friend. Very much appreciated. So, again, I know I'm forgetting people. I'm trying to scroll through. I like giving everyone one more shout out before we end the day. But it was a good chat, and it was long, so I don't think I'm going to get everyone. So if I miss you, I apologize. Oh, man. Jeez. Don't tell her. Don't tell her I forgot. I forgot Mocha McCarty. To which, if it wasn't for Mocha McCarty, oh, man, and our friend Laradox, he started off the conversation. I think I got everyone. So, thanks, guys. I'll see everyone later.